All right, this is the unit on cell theory. It's titled Cell Theory, Finding Out What We're Made Of. The rationale behind this unit is cellular theory, hierarchical organization, and respiration are building blocks for larger concepts of scientific thought. And to begin with the glaring differences of cells, moving to their organization, and finishing with their energy production, students will lay good groundwork for other biological topics that students will later encounter along their educational journey. I personally really enjoy the crossroads of small level cells combining to the larger level of organ systems and just seeing how that combines along the way. This 15-day lesson plan will be structured around Gardner's 8 multiple intelligences. These intelligences are as follows: interpersonal, naturalists, visual, spatial, musical, logical or reasoning, interpersonal, bodily and kinesthetic, and linguistic. Throughout my presentation of this unit plan, I'm going to make an effort to touch on all of them and how they're used and utilized in my unit plan. It's going to feature numerous activities that's going to appeal to these learners with different intelligences. This unit is going to be backed with a variety of different standards. These standards are firstly the Common Core State Standards and the Next Generation Science Standards. 4 of these main standards are the first one, which is MSLS1, which is conduct an investigation to provide evidence that living things are made up of cells. MS2, which is developing and using a model to describe the function of a cell as a whole and ways parts of cells can contribute to that function. We'll see later how that model will play out in this unit. Then using an argument to support by evidence for how the body is a system of interacting subsystems and groups of cells. We'll see that in the third part of this unit. And then using a model to illustrate that cellular respiration is a chemical process whereby bonds of food molecules, oxygen molecules are broken, and bonds of new compounds are formed. So these lessons will also feature opportunities for students to adhere to ISTE standards of digital citizenship, knowledge construction, creative communication, and empowered learning. So those are the 3 standards right there: NGSS, CCSS, and ISTE. The unit will focus on 3 chapters of the collective unit. The first week will be on cell structures, the second week on cellular respiration, and the third on body systems. The first 2 days will be structured around mini lessons of cell structure. There will be quick writes around 2 news ELA articles entitled "The Facts About Cells" and "The Cells on the Human Body." Those quick writes will lead to larger conversations, and then students will then access a Padlet page like the one presented here, where they can pose and answer specific questions about organelles within cells on a variety of cell topics. Really anything that's on their heart or on their mind about cells that they've learned that is either unclear or that they're fired up about, they'll have a place to put it on this Padlet and interact with other students. Students will be asked to respond to at least 1 prompt. For days 4 and 5, students will play an online game called Bioman that is an educational exploration of a cell, really appealing to some of our bodily and kinesthetic learners there. And then create an infographic with an online graphic creator such as Canva or Visme, and then perform a jigsaw with the entire class to compare their infographics with one another. Once they've done that, they will enter into a flip grid and show how their cell organelles interact with one another's. So, as you can see here, this would be an accessible cell organelle infographic of a eukaryote and a prokaryote. These are cells as a whole. Students will select one organelle, such as a mitochondrion or a ribosome, and then make an infographic about that, and then their flip grid will be a 30-second video just describing how that might interact with another organelle within the cell, like how the endoplasmic reticulum would interact with lysosomes, for example. Then it'll move on to the respiration sequencing for the second week of the unit. Sequencing of cellular respiration tends to be very difficult for students to understand and to memorize and understand its significance. So days 6 and 7 will be devoted to creating a mind map on MindMeister and a visual quiz on Sporkle. Here, as you can see, is the cellular respiration sequence. Very complicated, lots of different steps with fermentation, lactation, pyruvates, and glycolysis. So to help organize that a little bit more for students, they'll use a mind map, as you can see to the right of the screen, that will help them describe cellular respiration. They'll use MindMeister. That really is an awesome program online to help our visual-spatial and our linguistic learners vocalize things that they're trying to learn. They can also, after that, for day 8, they will use a storyboard on Storyboard.com, which is a storyboard building app online, or they can use Toontastic, which is a program that allows students to make a cartoon narrative online. Very fantastic video creating software, and they'll use that to personify an organelle within the respiration process. So they can use something like Mikey the mitochondrion and talk about how he's going to the grocery store to get ATP. That's just one example of how they can get really creative with it. From that point, they will then be day 9, which will be a day where interpersonal students will thrive. They'll work together to create a Kahoot or Quizlet Live questions about cell structures and respiration, and then they will quiz each other with those different quizzes that they've created. Really going to work on interpersonal reactions with students, and really just an opportunity for them to display what they know, and maybe some things that they could work on. From that point, day 10 will be a musical learner's paradise, because it will allow students to use GarageBand or Songify. As you can see here, this is what a GarageBand screen would look like, to create a mnemonic song for the sequences of respiration. So just a fun way that they can remember the different steps of respiration. I'd be willing to also expand this to a different aspect of this learning, maybe separating this day later or earlier on so they could do it about cell organelles or do it about body structures. But for now, it's in the sequence of respiration. For day 11, it'll be the final part of the unit on body structures and tissues, and days 12, 13, and 14 are going to be really the heart, if you will, no pun intended, of the unit, where they'll make a progressive creation of a bodily system. So this is great for our logical learners, where they're going to be really be able to space out and visualize the different aspects of a body system. So these systems could be circulatory, respiratory, nervous, digestive, really any of the body systems. With day 12, they'll start by creating a physical poster of their body system that they've selected. Day 13, they will convert their poster to a tech graphic using Visme, Canva. They can even do it as a storyboard or a video presentation. I'm fine with any of them. And then for day 14, they'll finally create a 3-dimensional representation of that body system, that organ system. This is really going to help them see the sequence of cells to tissues to organs to organ systems, working their way up from the bottom up and then the top down, so they can really understand from full understanding what the true power of cells have on the body. For day 15, they'll tie a bow on the unit with a Poppet mind map. Poppet is a fantastic way of just setting our logical thinking into a visual space. And then there will be a class discussion on the hierarchy of cells, tissues, organs, and organ systems, and ultimately just a great end to a 3-part unit on the aforementioned subject matter. All of this is adhering to those previously mentioned standards, and is meant to really get down to the importance of cells and other biological phenomena that will set building blocks for students down the road. Thank you very much.